What's good, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, Twitch, the country, the world? Um, as you can see, I just got out of the shower. I meant to shave, but whatever. Um, I thought I was gonna stream tonight. I was gonna stream some Division. Um, but honestly, I just haven't felt really like doing anything today. I didn't even study. I didn't do really anything. And I think a lot of people are feeling that. I really don't have much of a platform anymore. Obviously, here on Twitch, I don't have much, and or on YouTube, we don't have much anymore. Um, Nor do am I going to share an opinion that's drastically different or earth shattering um, than ones that are already out there. You can go look at a thousand other people more elegant than me to get proper opinions. Um, but I wanted to say something. Uh, yeah, I wanted to say something at least because it's like a lot of people. I'm sure it's been rattling in everyone's mind. What happened yesterday? The terrorist attack um, on our capital. I went to here in Austin. I went to the Texas Capitol um, to go provide medical assistance as always to for BLM or Black Lives or whoever counter protesters because the Trump protesters were going to have a protest there, and I anticipated there being a counter protest as there sometimes is. Uh, when I arrived, I was the only person there as far as counter protesting. So I just kind of stood back in the shadows. They had just opened up the Texas State Capitol grounds a couple days ago, apparently. Quinkydink there. So the protesters were allowed onto the Capitol grounds. They were within throwing distance of the steps. They had the Capitol Police had cordoned off the steps of the Capitol, but they were allowed on the grounds. I showed up about the time that the flyer, or whatever you want to say, listed for people to show up for the Trump rally. At the time, they were just Trump was just doing his little nice quality comment there. Let's see here. Boom. Blocked and reported. Thank you for playing. It's funny, your San Santony. Let's bring up your fucking. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. If you're gonna go on people's chats and just spam bad words, you should. Oh, message has been blocked by user. Yeah, yeah, you're blocked, buddy. Yeah, yeah. You can keep trying. Um. Nice quality page here. Um. Hold on, I'm reporting. In chat message. Hate speech. Next. Hate speech. Cool. Have fun with that, bud. What was I saying? Oh, I showed up at the Capitol, and yeah, there was probably oh 300 people there already, listening to Trump's Zig Heil on the somebody had hooked up a loudspeaker or some shit. And there was no counter protesters, so I kind of saddled up and was taken off. As I was taking off, apparently there had been a splinter group of Trump protesters that had been marching I wish I could sit back here. That had been marching. I have a microphone. I have a microphone that I can move so I can talk back here. That had been marching, and so they showed up, and now there's probably about 500 people. Um, no counter protesters, just me. So I was heading to my car in a little parking lot, and this guy was fucking. This guy, I got into it and whatever. He told me, what did he say? He said I need to find Jesus because I had my bisexual pride flag on the back of my car, and he told me I needed to take more pride in my country. Told me I needed to take more pride in my country. Absolutely, Freddie. You know you can't keep me fucking quiet. You can. It's pretty easy, actually. Um, and then I went home. After being at the Capitol, I went home, and I have a dear friend who's in D.C. right now. He was earlier. Um, he was very nervous about going to D.C., but he uh, live streams for the deaf community. Um, it's a very underrepresented community um, that often just doesn't get representation in a way that helps them understand what's going on. I've had a lot of great chats with him through his interpreter to just him personally. Um, so him and he went to he's in DC right now, and he was at the uh, riot. I was trying to think of a better word. Coup. Um, but and then as things progressed, it honestly became really hard for me to watch. Um, I if you don't know my background, I have a degree in political science and criminal justice. Um, I was studying law. I was going to go on to be a lawyer until I realized I didn't like 4 year school, and so I studied law for 4 years and ended up with a political science degree. Um, so I studied politics and law and this country and other countries and how ethics apply to our everyday lives and how politics applies to our everyday lives and how our country is not perfect in any way. The Democrats suck. The Republicans are deplorable. The system is broken. But the bones are very strong. Our system of checks and balances is really strong. The way our systems work uh, in a vacuum would be ideal for democracy, for equal representation. It's when you start getting into gerrymandering and pork billing and institutional racism and lobbying and all these other things that humans will always do is when shit devolves and crumbles. It's the same as socialism or capitalism. Those systems could work too. They could work really well if they were devoid of outside forces, but that's not the way we live. Um, and democracy's uh, not immune from that either. And I, like a lot of left people, socialists or communists or whoever, um, have always really wanted radical change. I mean, it's in our titles, right? We're radicals. We're radical, man. Uh, we've always dreamed of revolutions or rising up, the working people rising up and changing for the better. Our country was founded on protesting, on hey, Charlie. Uh, Sorry, no video games tonight. It's just me. Yeah. What do you got, bud? I can wait. Is it going to be a real question? We're waiting. Charlie is the beast. Best apologies. I'm waiting for this question with bated breath. I was in the middle of a monologue. I'm so excited. While I wait for this question, here's a fun fact. Microphone. Okay. I'm seeing if my microphone is omnidirectional or dual directional. I can't remember. I've had it for so long. Charlie. Okay. Maybe he had one thing. Can you explain one thing to me? And then he just stopped. Oh, I see that. His the chat window isn't showing up. How interesting. Properties. Open app settings. While I wait, I'm not into JDCs. Okay. Hold on. The chat is supposed to be displayed on the stream here. So hold on. I was seeing if I could fix that. It is appearing I cannot. Oh, here we are. Yeah, it fixed itself a little bit. Okay. Charlie is the best asks, I'm not into politics, but why do people hate each other when it comes down to politics? Why is it such a sensitive topic or subject? Shouldn't politics be like truly listening to each other and trying to understand each other's points, interests, and focusing them on others? That is a great question. And the answer to it is kind of twofold. One, people hate each other when it comes. I know jack shit about politics. By the way, I'm a single guy. I only think about making good money and not stress, and I enjoy women. That's it. Okay. Fair enough. So I will do my best. Like I said, I have a degree in this, so I will use my education as best as I can. The short answer is politics. Politics is everything. Everything comes down to politics. And one in a society, obviously, if we lived, and usually when they talk politics again, yeah. So the reason that is because politics is everything. It really is. No matter what you do, it'll come down to politics, and everything from the price of electricity to the price of gas uh, to the price of food, things that you will interact with daily, you can't escape, and those are all controlled by politics. The price of electricity, for example, the subsidies are controlled by subsidies that are controlled by the government. That then the electric company then rolls down into you. So everything is politics when you live in a society. Every society, hi poker. And when you have something this nebulous, this massive, it will inevitably drag everything in. And sorry, hold on one second. My timer has started. So when you have something this nebulous as everything, it'll inevitably polarize people. And there's a solid argument to be made that capitalism will do this as well. The way our market is set up, of the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and if you have, you can. If you can't, you can't. If you don't have money, you just die. You just are a cog in the machine. You die. So there's a solid argument to be said that this would inevitably happen when we went from feudalism to capitalism. Uh, Feudalism wouldn't be any better, obviously, but it's not. It's a transition from feudalism into capitalism. Um, so it would inevitably turn into that. And but seriously, let's say Trump won. What would have changed directly in your life? What would have changed directly in my so okay? You're a couple different questions here, but I want to answer that one real quick. But seriously, let's say Trump won. What would have changed directly in your life? Since you're directing it at me in my life, um, my right as a bisexual person would be threatened of who I wanted to marry if I ever wanted to marry someone. My right to, um, if I ever fell in love with a man or someone in a transition, that right would be on the chopping block. Trump has said has wanted to take care of that, and he has purposely put in judges into the Supreme Court that are anti-LGBTQ. My right as a transgender person, I identify as non-binary. Um, that would be threatened because he doesn't think I am a real person. My right at so I am also a BLM activist. I'm a medic. I go out and provide medical care at BLM rallies. He has wanted to charge me with 10 years just for being out in the streets protesting, which is a natural thing, let alone an American thing, let alone a thing we just saw him tell people to do yesterday. So that would be threatened. Not to mention um, the climate change that is we are at a tipping point, and that this the next 10 years will decide the future of our planet, and he doesn't even believe it's a thing. This is our globe, so not even just me, but I live on this globe, so just me. uh that'd be a huge thing. I take antidepressants daily to keep from killing myself. uh and if I had to start paying for them without having reduced price due to government health care that he wants to take away and strip with no plan for another thing, uh, now I don't have my pills. Now, what do I do? These are all things that he wants to do and he has been doing. This isn't what could happen, this is what is happening. Um, Whenever someone new gets elected in my country, nothing changes in my life, legit nothing. You say that, but if you put a frog in water and slowly turn up the heat, it won't notice. And that's what's happened in our country. Is that the radical right did not just appear overnight. Did not just suddenly manifest into space and time. And climate change. I don't know about this. This planet has had things happen to it which will result in all of us, including you, to vanish. Look at the past and so on. Yeah, I'd be I may be suicidal, but I'd be a really big fan of like my brother and his children having a planet to live on. I'm not quite sure how extinction is a selling point for anything. I would prefer not to boil our planet alive, if at all possible. That sounds like a really nice thing. Um, Nature is really beautiful as well. Like, have you seen trees? They're pretty dope. Trees are pretty dope. Moss is pretty dope. All these things are pretty dope, and I would prefer not to have them just go away like dinosaurs or the countless other species we are killing on the daily. That'd be pretty dope. Um, Back to your earlier question, though. You were asking about why things are seem so polarized here lately. Um, the world will be okay in even 1,000 years. Yeah, if we all died, if we all just killed each other, the planet doesn't give a shit. Yeah, yeah. Nature has a way of equaling out. In medicine, we call it homeostasis. Your body wants to reach 97.6 degree or 98 so 90 blah, blah, blah. It wants to, your body wants to equal out, and nature is the same way. Um, Nature is the same way. It doesn't give a fuck about us. No, believe me, brother. We as humans can think that we have a lot of power. Both those statements are true. They are not. They are not. They are not indiscriminate from each other. Humans are both powerful, and nature is both powerful. Those are both. Those can both be true statements. Uh, I'm from the Midwest, where we get tornadoes. That's just where the sky gets angry and decides to yeet all your buildings. I've been in those tornadoes. I had one fly right by our house. So I wasn't like physically in the heart of the tornado, but like shit got ripped up at our farm. Um, so yeah, nature is powerful, but humans are equally powerful in that if my house had been yeeted off the face of the planet, there's 7 billion other houses on the planet that I could go live in. The problem with climate change is it's not a tornado, and it's not a hurricane. It's not a couple degrees. It's not a couple more feet of water. It's all this is happening. Uh, it's all happening. It's all a downward spiral. That is all interconnected, and it's our fault. It's 100% our fault. It's our fault. Yes, they are both powerful, but if nature truly starts to attack us, what can we do? Um, so if we did nothing about, and I kill a bug. So if we did in this hypothetical, if we did nothing about climate change, what's the worst that could happen? Um, so one, obvious the first obvious thing is ice caps would melt, thus raising the water level of the planet by several dozen feet. Which doesn't sound like a lot, right? That doesn't sound that much. What's a dozen feet? Um, that's enough to sink most of Florida, though. And humans like to live on the coast. Look at L.A. Look at New York. Look at San Diego. Look at Tokyo. Look at London. Look at Paris. Uh, Shanghai, I believe. All these are on the coast. Yeah, all these are on the coast. Those are going to be, you can build seawalls, but seawalls are really only good for a short while. For a tsunami, a hurricane, something like that. They're not meant to be just permanent dams. So now we have everyone has to move inland, right? Water rises, everyone has to move inland. Inland is where we make a lot of our food. It's a lot of food production across the planet, not just here in the U.S. It's a lot of food production across the world because that's where rivers are. Rivers make fertile deposits in the soil. That's where food is developed. That's why the Midwest sucks. There's nothing there but farmland. So now, if all of a sudden millions of people have to move inland, we're now losing less farmland. And the human population is only on the rise. It's plateauing a little bit, but it's still on the rise as of right now. And we already have a food crisis. So even if with more people, there are permanent seawalls. Yeah, there are, but we would be talking across the country. And I guess not across the country. We wouldn't have to try and save the world. Um, but I don't think it would be a great idea. I don't see it being a solid solution. Um, I don't not at the level of Max Shaw. Yeah, I have read that and I have seen that, but I never. We have reached Max Child. We will not break 10 billion people. That's still 2 billion more people. And we already have a food crisis. Um, so I get that. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I'm following you. Sorry, I'm just thinking uh of the long-term consequences of just the sea level rise. Just the sea level rise. That's not counting the hurricanes. So back to this there are permanent seawalls, right? But with increasing climate change, the severity and the likelihood of natural disasters goes up as also. We don't have a food crisis. We have a logistics crisis. Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, in the U.S. and in developed countries, maybe not so much in the non-developed countries. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm inclined to believe both those are true. I'm inclined to believe those are true. Granted, food waste is a massive issue. Um, I'm trying to think as far as shit. If we can fucking figure out ways to ship our fucking trash to people in third world countries, why can't we figure out food? Fair enough. Maybe it is all just a logistical crisis, and well, that and greed. Greed is the fucking. That's the end all be all of all this, Fred. If yeah, what's the Fred? What's the term for someone that does things just out of the altruism? Altruism doesn't exist, right? Yeah, it really doesn't. How did we get on this subject? Oh, politics. I was talking about politics. I was on a monologue. Somebody asked about politics. Started talking about politics. Started talking about climate change. Climate change. Here we are. Okay, let's backtrack. Um, the world would be okay in even 1,000 years. You know, Fred and I are IRL real good friends, and we've often lamented about just let our generation just be the last one. Just let us not have kids and we all just decide that this is where it ends. The last generation decided that they're not going to give a shit about the planet and they're just going to dump soap into the water and not give a shit. Like, what if our generation just decided we're not having kids and you can all fuck off? We're ending this shit. Like, that'd be pretty dope. I'd be on board with that. Children are gross, anyways. There is something to be said about like passing on, the collective knowledge of people of you know, making this big journey and big fight not worthless. There is something to be said about that. But yeah, what if we just said fuck it? And we just ended it all. Quietly off into the void. Yeah, we all just like we spend the next 60 years just developing rockets, like individual rockets for everyone, and we just all launch off like a porcupine off the planet and just like float. We all just leave. We just yeet off, and like there's 8 billion of us, and we all just like 360 to sphere, just one of us might hit something, you know, and that be, you know, some alien race like finds a little pod with like two humans in it, and then they get to Earth and we're all dead, like we're all gone, and they find like this nice planet after a couple of millennia that's like pristine again. It has like trees and shit, and ice, and you can see the sky, and you know, Earth looks pretty dope to these aliens. We could leave like two people, we started. We just say fuck it. We leave fucking Adam and Lilith, and they can populate with their angels. And in a couple billion years, there'll be mech fighting angels. There'll be Evas fighting angels, and then Ray will come in and just end all existence. And this is thank you for coming to my TED Talk on how Evangelion is the future of our planet, and how 3.0 plus 1.0 needs to come out sooner. Oh, Fet Fingers, thank you for following. I just didn't see it. Thank you. Jesus Christ. People, mufflers, cars, go fuck yourselves. Made me lose that muffler just made me lose my entire train of thought. 2021 is like I'm trying to get better care of my hair. It's a horrible thing. Don't. I should just shave it all off. If you wonder, to remind me of what I'm talking about, I grabbed my Lego Capitol building, and I've just been staring at it. Because that's what I wanted. I was in the shower and I was just like, I just didn't feel like doing anything today. I didn't study. I didn't play really any games. I didn't really do anything. In all honesty, I took a nap and I laid on the couch, and that was about it. And being on TikTok, I don't think and on Twitter and stuff, I don't think I'm the only one that really felt that way. Like I was saying, I had to call people yesterday to talk about what I was seeing. Talk about what I was seeing on the TV. You know, I was watching PBS as always because they're the best news, and public broadcasting. I hope I'm always in a financial situation where I can financially support them, because our government can't support them because they suck. Anywho, I was watching their coverage, and they had a reporter that was inside during the chaos, and obviously outside. And like I said, I had a friend that was live streaming outside, and I just couldn't get over it. Like I really could not get over the sheer magnitude, for lack of a better term, of what I was watching, of what we were watching, of what the world was watching, and it just was being allowed to happen. That's what it keeps coming back to. We get together for Black Lives for one of 4 dozen black people murdered this week, and we have horses trampling us and spraying us with mace, or beating us, or killing us. Fucking killing us. Doing drive-bys. Sanctioned drive-bys. Yet they stormed the Capitol, the heart of our republic, the heart of our democracy, the heart, the core of the most secure city in the most secure country, with a $34 trillion defense budget, and they were allowed to just walk the halls like a fucking tourist group from Asia. What? I was dumbfounded. When I went to D.C. as a high school student, we went to the Capitol and we went to the White House and we did all that. And at the White House, you weren't allowed within fucking 40,000 yards of it through fucking armed security guards. And I took pictures of the snipers on the roof watching us, a bunch of high school students. And these people were allowed to break into the Capitol building on a planned event. This wasn't unknown. This was a planned event. It wasn't a fucking flash mob of racist, homophobic, misogynistic piece of shit bring your daughter to work day. It was a planned event. There should have been fucking Abrams sitting on the fucking Capitol lawn and fucking Apache helicopters there. Fucking aircraft carrier in the bay. Like, I don't like the police. I'm very anti-police. But our society, we still need police. And where the fuck were they? Where the fuck were they? Like, the police suck. And they're horrible at their job. And this is just like, the bar was so low. And you shoved it up your ass and walked away with it. Like, how do you do this? And we've all seen the video of the cops just turning and walking away from the barricade. That calling that a barricade. I've had better barricades at fucking rock concerts. And reports are coming out of Congress people, or not Congress people, like council members that were there from my current state that were there, and other states, obviously not just Texas, that were in the mob. The FBI is asking for help identifying these protesters, and they're not protesters; they're terrorists. They're terrorists. They broke in. You can't break into a government building that is housing 99% of our elected officials. You can't break into that building, one. Then you can't just wander the halls with zip ties, that shows malice intent to take hostages. Under the direct order from the president. He told them, we're going to walk down to the fucking Capitol building and tell them this. I'll be right there with you. And he wasn't. He wasn't, because he never is. And now they're drawing up articles of impeachment. And people are claiming for the 25th Amendment to be enacted, which means conversion camps, national rhetoric in 14 days. I don't think so. I don't think Mitch would allow that. Mitch would allow that. Mitch sucks. God. Also, PBS reported during the storming of the Capitol, the insurrection, the failed coup of the Charlottesville on steroids, the cult rising up, that there was only 2 confirmed people that got out of the Capitol building beforehand, and that was Mr. Mike Pence, Mr. Chuck Grassley of Iowa, the second highest ranking Republican, and all the other people were evacuated through the tunnels, along with the journalists and everything. What the fuck, Ted Cruz? What the fuck, Marco Rubio? These are your people. You should be out there with them, right? No, they were cowering. On the bright side, Trumpers don't believe in masks, so none of them were wearing masks, so it should be really easy to apprehend all these people that broke into the Capitol building, right? They took fucking pictures and videos of them in the Capitol building. It'll be really easy to arrest all of them, right? And charge them with federal trespassing charges. Fuck those one people, they fucking broke into Nancy Pelosi's office and were taking pictures of their computers because the staffers had to evacuate so quickly they couldn't even shut down their computers, and then people were taking pictures of it. That is espionage. We're not talking just breaking and entering now. We are talking about leaking government documents. You can't, that's not okay. You can't pull the fire alarm and then while everyone is running out, grab Nancy Pelosi's phone and be like fucking taking pictures. No. That's not the way this works. Any of this we call society. And if I'm being honest, impeachment, 25th Amendment, none of this seems applicable. None of this seems right. None of this seems hard enough. But death squads seem a little strong. Yes, Fred, I know you're going to say it. I can't just death squad the people as much as I want. Can we, like, round them all up and, like, send them out the airlock? I don't know. What fucking monster island can we send them to? I don't have beef with any island. Like, New Zealand, maybe? I don't know. No, because the Shire's in New Zealand. Madagascar? No, there's, like, birds there. We could send... So we round up Trump and all the Republicans that allowed him to get here, and Fox News. Death squads. I want death squads. Like Star Wars. Those are death troopers, you troglodyte, not death squads, and they're the best of the stormtroopers. I'll fight you on that. We get Trump and OAN and Fox News and all his little supporters, and we get them on a nice little. We implement my blimps, and we get them in the blimp, and we go, and then we drop them. Okay, you follow me? We drop them. We give them all the resources they need to start their own society, their own utopia of racism. But we drop them. We drop them in all those shithole countries that they talked about. That's where we leave them. We leave them in their shithole countries. Because guess what? They're not shitholes. They're civilized people that would take them in with open arms. Because they're good and decent human beings. Because they would never call another group of people a shithole country that they've never even thought of. Nor could they point it out on a fucking map. And we let them handle it. We just give them our racists. That sounds nice. A couple $1 billion. Like, it's like a quid pro quo. Quid pro quo. Like Trump, he's really good at that. You take all these racists, we give you, I don't know, a couple $1 billion. I don't know. Luckily, today was pretty quiet. I contacted my friend that's in D.C., and he walked by the Capitol for some people, and they now have erected a fucking fence, like an actual barrier, and have guards. What the fuck was that yesterday? He said that he didn't see a lot of people even in the streets yesterday. Yesterday, my coping was I went and played the Division 2, which I've been playing anyways. But I went and played the Division 2 with I just opened it up and found a random person, and we played the Division together, and just were I would just update us. He was in the U.S. I didn't ask where, but I was just updating us on the world exploding around us. And if you don't know the story behind the Division 2, or the Division, I won't go into it. But the Division 2 takes place in Washington D.C. There's missions at the Capitol and stuff. So it felt very fitting to us to be playing it's not even really an apocalypse in a sense. It's really more like it's what the coronavirus could have been. It's a virus ravages the world. So I guess in a sense it'd be an apocalypse type game. In DC and stuff, but it felt very fitting. And I'm really, really scared for a lot of different reasons. Like the inauguration is in 13 days. 11 days, 1 hour. 11 days, 13 hours, and Um, what that's gonna look like? It's gonna blow Trump out of the fucking water with people. I can already predict that. Um, this is going to be in textbooks and studied for decades. Scholars, people that went and got the degree I did, will have to study this. Like I had to study the French Revolution and the Soviet collapse and the fall of Rome and and people. I keep seeing the the wheels turning of people trying to justify it. Obviously, Crystal Ball and Candace Owens, fucking dumb bitches. Yeah, I said it. I'm gonna be misogynistic. I'll use my one misogyny today. Thank you, Justin Daisy, self-proclaimed feminist, uses the B word. I know. I accept it for Candace Owens and Crystal Ball. I accept it. Trying to claim that this was Antifa, and I forget who it was, but somebody tweeted out. Obviously, it couldn't have been Antifa because none of them had blue hair. Pretty solid. And our side's not the side. Again, our side isn't the side that like infiltrates protests and destroys them from the inside. That's the right. The right does that. The right gets the guns and the espionage, and the left gets candlelight vigils for people and not having spines. It's a very interesting dichotomy. Also, side note, has nothing to do with this, but also stresses in my life that are again tied into politics. Uh, Unemployment is still not in effect yet, so things are getting tight. And that $600 stimulus, if you use TurboTax or what was the other one, H&R Block, you didn't get your $600 rebate. They say they're working on it, but they don't have any timeline of when it will actually come. So that's fucking dope. So there's zero income coming in over on my end. And I'm stressed about that because I'm out of fucking everything. Thanks, Mitch and Trump. If Trump wouldn't have let the fucking unemployment lapse, I wouldn't be in this situation. But because he decided, the Republicans decided to drag their feet, uh, the last payment for unemployment, for anyone that was on unemployment due to COVID relief, something like 10 million Americans, uh, stopped in December 13th, I think was the actual last date was Christmas, December 25th, but I think the actual like last date was December 13th or something like that. There's been zero payment for myself and millions of other Americans. And I've been poor my whole life. Like, I grew up poor. I'm poor now. Um, but this is a new level of poor that I'm not used to because I just don't have a source of income. Every other time I was poor, it was because I had more bills than income. Um, this is just there's no income. I'm to my max in studies, and there's still, my city is still on stage 5 of a pandemic. So like, oh, just go get a fucking fast food job. There's no fast food jobs. There's no jobs. I When I moved here, I applied to over 400 jobs and got zero callbacks. And it scares me. Like I said, I've been poor my whole life, and this is a new level I've not encountered, and it's fucking terrifying. That and there's just like nothing. Nothing I can do. So thanks again to Mr. Chris Clinton. I did the math and sent him today that he is a solid. His donations are a solid 15% of my bank account right now. Luckily, let's try and end on a positive note here because I've been talking for 50 minutes. It's only the 7th. There's a whole nother month, or like 3 more weeks till rent is due again. Good news, good news, good news. Good news. Took a shower today at 8. I actually cooked. This concludes our daily good news. Yeah, so I'm sorry I didn't really go anywhere with this. Like I said, I just wanted people to know that if they're not feeling up to anything, that they're not alone. Yeah, you're not alone, man. What we saw yesterday was not normal. This is not normal. And it's not good. We often want revolutions to be good. We often want rising ups for the people to be good. But this was not. Nothing about what happened yesterday was good. Nothing. Nothing. Zero. Police response. Zero. Not good. I was reading the tweets from the Department of Defense, and they were so proud of themselves. Motherfuckers, you showed up 2 hours late to a planned event and then escorted them out gently. What the fuck? You know, that one lady died. And I, as a healthcare professional, don't want anyone to die. But I, as a lover of freedom and democracy in our country, and ethics and the rule of law, the guy that shot her, those Secret Service members that the pictures are going around of, like, they have the fucking house doors barricaded, those guys have more restraint than I ever would. I don't know how they didn't just start open firing into the fucking hallway like the fucking Rogue One scene or episode 4. Like, enemy combatants had broken into the Capitol building. Those are enemy combatants. Like, don't get it twisted. And they were there to take hostages. Or do worse. Fucking 3 pipe bombs were found. That is both means and ability to commit murder or other such heinous crimes against the state. And how you don't just start blapping down the fucking hallway, I don't understand. So I am sorry that one lady died. Don't know her name. I am sorry for loss of life, though. That's another soul, an electrical current that has been snuffed out. But as the right was so quick to say when Garrett Foster was murdered, fuck around and find out. Or you, what else was I told? Play a stupid game, win stupid prizes. Right? Right? Isn't that? No? That just applies when we're defending Black Lives Matter? Oh. Fuck. And I think that's what gets a lot of people. I think I'm a lot of people, that is what angers them, is the sharp contrast between BLM and this. And it just highlights white privilege so well. And I saw somebody was asking if it's white privilege, is it male privilege, is it classist, or, you know, like, what? And it's I think they're very interconnected. think it starts at white privilege and then it goes down to male privilege. Like there's definitely a pie chart. But I will say at the Texas rally that I went to, there was a lot of female representation there. I will say that. Somehow Trump is popular with old white ladies, I guess. I don't... Karens? He's popular with Karens. He really liked to say that in his speeches. He would keep saying he's popular in... what would he say? He would say, he's polling really popular with suburban housewives? That's not a demographic. Like, I've read dozens and dozens of polls. Suburban housewife or suburban anything is not a poll. The Privilege Olympics, yeah. It's like the little circles. What was it? I just read a news article of two white supremacist people that stabbed each other in jail because they were arguing about who is more racist. Oh, what is our country? For me, like I was saying that for a lot of people, it's the stark contrast between BLM and this a failed coup attempt. God, and it makes me so. But for me, what kept rattling my cage is this is history. This will be taught in history books. That was something that always bothered me about when Trump became president. Is that this to be president? There's only been 46 of them, right? Right? That's the thing. And you know, school children are told all their names and this and that, and you know you learn the Battle of Waterloo and throwing the tea in the fucking harbor. Excuse me. Man, I'm tired for not doing anything all day. And that it's just something like the world is watching us and laughing and appalled. And it'll be taught. We'll have to explain it. We'll have to explain, you know, we can look at the fall of Rome and see that it happened and the socioeconomic reasons it happened, but we never think about the people that lived through it, that were there. And, you know, we're in that. I'm not saying that America's crumbling. Although, I did see a very interesting thought piece about how our political enemies can use this now to do the very thing that the right would hate, and point out that, look, democracy has failed you. The Russia and China, that's been their message for a long time, is that democracy can't work. Look at America. Look how fucked up it is. And that's why they sow deceit in our country. That's why propaganda works. That's why they do it. They can now point to this. This is the ultimate poster. This is the fucking golden ticket to show democracy doesn't work. Suburban housewives exist so they can be a demographic. No, not when it comes to political polls. It would be female. Then you know, like your socioeconomic status. But I've never read a poll that, like, what house do you live in? Like, I've never read a poll that's like rural or suburban or high rise or condo. Like, I've never read a poll that would do that. There's, you know, most polls. Polling is actually a very interesting science. I took several classes on it because political science, polls. It's an offshoot of statistics and all that. One of the few classes that differentiates political science from sociology and other things is poll classes. So when you write polls, there's like a science to it. There's a reason that all these polls use Likert scale, and they all look the same. That's the Likert scale is 1 through 5, and they all look the same. And they all ask the same questions. They all ask your gender and your age and your race and all that stuff. and then eventually they get to the actual question they're looking at. So there might be a poll that you might have a poll A that asks for your details on your housing, to get a poll on how many people live in suburbia, which would be an interesting question because where do you draw that line? How many people would live in so a better question would be like, do you rent, own, or lease your house? But then you have people that might live in the rural, so then you have to subjectively or objectively ask, do you live in a rural or an urban environment? Because if you live in a city that is only 150 people, do you consider that rural or do you consider that urban? People in the city, like where I live now, if your town was only 150 people, we would call that rural. But the people that live there, that are used to not having somebody around for but for tens of miles, they would call that urban. They would call it the big city of 150 people. If you need an example, you can look up the town Littledale, Iowa. It's 150 people. So that's what I'm saying. Is suburban housewives is the suburban is where you're running into. That's a very that's a very it's not a concrete term. You can't. There's not a clear line. There's clear lines for your socioeconomic status. Do you make more or less than $50,000 a year? Do you make less or more than $60,000 a year? Do you were you? What is what kind of car do you drive? Ford, Nissan, Toyota. Do you shop at your local farmer's market? Do you shop at the grocery store? Do you do this? Do you do that? And that's how polling works. It's too nebulous. Yes, it is too nebulous. Exactly. If they ask trying to think of how you could get how you could get to this poll. But it's just really hard. It's really how many floors does your house have? And then he could be the fucking champion of or how many bedrooms does your house have? And then Trump could be up there and be like, I poll the best with people with more than 6 bedrooms. I poll amazing with housewives that live in houses with more than 6 bedrooms. I don't know why my Trump impersonation is close to a Bernie impersonation. I don't do impersonations. As much as I wish I could be a political streamer, I'm too small to be a political streamer. So I don't get impressions now. Good things that are happening, by the way. Betsy DeVos is stepping down. The lady that's in charge of the Department of Transportation, Mitch's wife, she's stepping down. Ilhan Omar, apologies. Omar has drafted and is presenting formal declarations of impeachment. Nancy Pelosi is calling for impeachment. Mike Pence has reportedly been looking into the 25th Amendment. When was the last time anyone other than fucking political scholars thought about the 25th Amendment? Those are all good things. Again, technically, better late than never, I guess. Not saying Mike Pence would have been any better. At all. Probably would have been quieter, though. Just objectively quieter, not like. So, with this rambling 1 hour stream, my hair is actually dry now. Like I said, I've been trying to take better. As a guy, I was never taught that you're not supposed to rub your hair dry. You're supposed to just let it dry. Because I'm trying to take better care of my hair, because it helps with my self-identification. I'm gonna go shave. I'm tired of having a beard. It doesn't feel right anymore. with my identity. But in doing this, I've been learning a lot about hair, about conditioners and things that I was never taught as a male child. So yeah, I do feel a little better. I'm still super depressed. Not suicidal. We're not that far on the chain yet, but we're on the depressed side of the scale. Let's all hope that. Let's send our cosmic energy to who should we send our cosmic energy to? We should send our cosmic energy to the people working over at TurboTax to get me my $600. And yeah, you're not alone in this. Yesterday was super traumatic. Reach out to people, talk to people. It's okay. Everyone that watched it yesterday, if you didn't think it was traumatic and crazy and horrible, I don't know what's wrong with you. If you thought it was acceptable and that it was a good thing, you can go fuck off. Yeah, I'll stick by that. I'll stick by that. Mm-hmm. Hold on, let me think. Yeah, I'm gonna stick by that. I'm gonna stick by that sentence. Yep. All right, we're all in this one together, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully